City of Homestead Committee of Whole, Finance, Enterprise, Park and Recreation, Public Safety, Utility Committee meeting to order. It is now 6:50 in the evening. We're at 790 Homestead Boulevard, Homestead, Florida. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Here.
Councilman Maldonado absent. Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilwoman Woolman.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Here.
Mayor Bateman.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item is additions, deletions, or deferrals. Do we have any? Okay, thank you. Discussion item, Centennial Celebration. We've got a package full of different literature from 2008 till up till now. What's council's pleasure to start the conversation? Yes.
Mayor, if you please. I don't know if and stop me if it's not appropriate, but back in back in December of 2005, the City of Homestead passed a resolution to use Homestead as Home as their signature name, slogan, whatever we want to say. Homestead is Home. And we do have it trademarked to December 16th of 2015. I know that there's a blog in town that uses Homestead as Home, but I personally think this was a contest. Ed and Clara, you remember this contest that we had, and people from all across the city, they sent in their ideas and suggestions. So I recall you had quite a few, Ed. But this was an anonymous person that came up with Homestead as Home, and it was voted on, and I would like to see it taken back again and not allow these blogs and all this other stuff to come in. I don't particularly, and no offense to anyone, but I don't particularly think that Discover the Opportunity says anything. And this is the 100th anniversary of our city, and Homestead is our home. So it's something I'd like to ask, Mayor, that the council considers, and now that I've verified that it is trademarked and it is ours to do with what we want, you know, it might make a big difference in how people think. And the public loved it at the time. They absolutely loved it. So it's just something, food for thought.
No, I concur. I just don't know how we reel it back in. And you have any suggestions? Because the Homestead is Home blog seems to be pretty active.
No, it's not.
Oh, no?
No.
Okay. Correct me?
No, it's not very active. And, I mean, it's active by maybe one person, but it's not. And that's why I say this was passed by resolution, and it's something that I think that it says about us. This is our home. And I'm tired of this. I think it's time to take it back. And we don't have that much stuff with Discover the Opportunities on it. But it is Homestead, and it is our 100th year. So I just thought this might be an appropriate time to not let people take things away from us that are rightfully ours.
I agree. I concur.
No, I know that unfortunately Richard isn't here tonight, but I know that Richard at one time had sent a letter, I believe, to the blog through the firm and on behalf of the city. So perhaps the manager or whomever can reach out to Richard, because I know that there was some communication when that blog was named, and I don't know what the end result. I mean, I see what the end result is, but I don't know what the communications were back and forth. And if I remember correctly, there was some communications back and forth between those parties, and James may have heard of it. He's been around for a while. So, but anyway, if they could check with him and see. And I don't know if they came to an agreement or what they did, but I know there was some communications at one time.
Yeah, because if we cannot get them to cease and desist, I would definitely like to go the opposite direction.
Right here.
Do you have it?
I mean, as far as it being ours and lawfully ours.
But, you know, how do we? How do we get there?
Well, I mean, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. I'm not saying that, it's just that when you go to the blog, you see the city time clock and you see things, and it makes you think that it's a city blog instead of a private blog. So, I mean, as far as that goes, I figured that's in the hands of the attorneys. But I guess I was asking my, mayor and colleagues whether or not you're interested in going back to what was voted on by the people and the people in the city that participated so highly in the contest. And it was so cute. I mean, we remember every week people would get up and give their ideas, and we had some great ones. But this one won.
Anyone else have a comment?
I just have a quick question. Was that slogan designed specifically for the centennial celebration?
No.
No, it was just...
No. It was, we all decided, Mayor, if I may, we all decided that we needed something, it's just not Homestead. And so we got together, I decided to do it as a contest so that we could get everybody involved in the community, and it was an active contest. It really was active. And we had, I believe it was a resolution, and we trademarked it, and it's ours.
I really like the slogan. I think it's very hospitable.
Yeah, welcoming.
Right, it's very welcoming, as opposed to discover the opportunities, because I often ask myself, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? What does it feel like? What opportunity?
I do not
spelled out. So I would definitely prefer the Homestead is home over the discover the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whatever, yeah, I'm good with whatever we need to do.
Okay, so, Mr. Manager, that's your direction? Okay. All right, it's just it's an outline, is all it is in front of you here. February 8th is the big day, 1913. And the events, I just listed the items that I know that we're all aware of, that kick off in November, the Homestead Air Show, the races, the year-end NASCAR races, Homestead Hospital Platinum Ball, Farmers Market, Christmas tree lighting, and it goes right into January education events we could do, and right into the in January Martin Luther King Parade, Homestead Rodeo, and then in February just kind of doing the grand finale, if you will, on the February 8th.
Mayor?
Yes, please.
I concur. These are some great ideas, and I think we should look at them all closely. A couple other things that I had discussed, because we originally had a discussion on this, I want to say 3 years ago, I think, in '08, if I remember right, and I was thinking, man, that's a long way away. Why are we even talking about it? And here it is right around the corner. And a couple of things that I had talked about, and I spoke to our information officer today, was I thought perhaps if we could put together at a reasonable rate, we have somebody that is a publisher that's willing to help us with some stuff, and what we're looking for from the community is kind of a historian that could write perhaps about the photos and make a timeline of the city of Homestead from 1913 to 2013. And we've reached out to several people, and unfortunately we've not been able to find or secure somebody that is willing to take that task on. So I guess tonight, if anybody is willing, or if anybody knows anybody that would want to help, we've got a mechanism in place that could be a great tool and make a nice little coffee table book or something, if we could do it reasonably. I can't remember the numbers that were spoken about from the publishing company. So that's one other thing that I think we should, that I would like to suggest we look at, is kind of memento if anybody comes here and is traveling through, and because there are people that travel around and go to 100 anniversaries and 200 birthdays. And then another thing that we did, I remember, is when I was growing up, is we had an anniversary. It was quite a bit older. I think it was the 300th of that community, and we reached out to another community and made like another community that was having their birthday also of their town, and reached out to them and made it kind of like we welcomed them to come to us, and they welcomed us residents to go to them and visit them and see that. And I thought, with all the people that come down here, if we could reach out to all the communities that are having, and just get a little bit of people that are traveling through, come down this way, it might be something we could look at too. I don't think with the internet and all the tools that we have today to get that information out there, I don't think it would cost us much, or if anything, other than just the idea of doing it and putting together a good message and a good slogan to send out to people, that the historian-type people and people that are celebrating their centennial also, or their bicentennial or tricentennial or whatever, and let them know that we're down here and having ours. And so those are a couple other ideas that I'd like to throw out on the table.
I like that. And this is Florida's 500-year celebration, 2013, and they have. I guess it's going to be a big deal this 2013. I found that on the internet. Celebrate Florida 500 celebration in 2013 with the City of Homestead Centennial. You know, we can piggyback off that.
And I know, and if I may also, I noticed on the list you did have the races, and of course we had a different track president back then than we do today. But I think perhaps if we reach out to them. In the past, they did agree to have some sort of 100-mile race for our 100th birthday, so we could, propose that to them again and see what would happen out there. I know that, like I said, when their past president was there, he was more than willing to offer that up. So perhaps we can look at them and try to do some 100-mile or 100-something out there to help commemorate the city's birthday also.
Mayor?
Thank you. Yes.
I've been gathering notes on this for a long time, and I'll just share it with my colleagues and see what you think, and if you don't think, throw it out. But I have here the original minutes of when the city was incorporated, and it was actually incorporated on January 27th, 1913 at 7:30 p.m. in the evening. You're welcome to take a look at that. It's the only set I have, but it's the original minutes, and they're handwritten.
Wow.
So if you'd like to see that.
Okay.
So again, I've been thinking about this for a long time. And I have some very good friends, I'm ashamed to say, that I graduated with high school with, have collected so much history. I'm ashamed to say that we know so much about the 100th year, but I mean, we know a lot of stuff. And some of them don't live here anymore, but Mr. Burgess, that would play right into what you were talking about with the coffee table book, and I could get Eddie and Randy and some of my buddies to send some things to Begonia and see if that can't be incorporated. I saw your list, Mayor, and I actually talked to the hospital today about incorporating the Pineapple Gala as a centennial, maybe a kickoff or whatever that would work into that. Of course, it would have to pass committee, but it's something to think about. I had the same idea as you, Mr. Burgess, with the racetrack, except that I was thinking of more of a concert, country western concert, with a headliner, perhaps with a race as well, but that was what I was thinking about. In December, and again, I talked to Larry Beal today, and I had such a pleasant conversation because he shared some ideas with me that were very similar to what I had written down. But in December, with the Christmas tree lighting, having choirs dressed up in the period costumes of the 1913, 1914, and have facades built all around Losner Park, like with the old Brown Drug Store and Breeding's Drug Store, and some of the, Orfanini's Shoe Shop, and some of the places that I remember as a child, and have those facades all around Losner Park dressed in decor of Christmas with the carolers, and that could be the December thing. In January, because that was the actual month of the incorporation, Larry had a great idea, and that was to use some actors, and there's a lot of actors here in Homestead and also in Miami, but he has a lot of connections in Pennsylvania as well, to interact with a series of lectures. The Southwest has so much history, and the Northwest and all the different areas, and maybe there could be a series of I want to say plays, the interaction using, for example, when the Hispanics discovered our community and they started moving in, the Haitians, the Mexican cultures, you know, all of that. So, and that could be done in an art form with the reenactment of the, and we could do an even reenactment, Mayor, with you, the Mayor, doing the actual meeting of the 1913, you know, the actual meeting, and playing that out. I mean, it could be so much fun. And excuse me, when I did the Second Wind celebration in 2002, I got tour buses from Miami, from Bill Talbert, and I'm sure that could happen again as well, so that people, historians like Ruth Campbell and Mr. Jensen could do tours of the city, and then ended up with your idea combined with things that I had already written down and Larry Deal. At the end of the tour, in the celebration that particular weekend, with a huge family day, and have the croquet on the Rosner Park, or wherever we wanted to have it, and have the ice cream socials and the lemonade and the, you know, I guess back in 1913, the sassafras and everything else that goes with it. But and then at the very end of the celebration, have another concert, perhaps at La Lay or wherever we could pull that together, and have a multicultural concert, you know, with all of the people who are represented here in our beautiful city. So I went to did some research with Flagler Railroad. They just did theirs in January this year. They did the 100th anniversary in Monroe County, and they did exactly that. They just did a few little events, and then excuse me, the month of the celebration, they threw everything in. They had something every week. They had something going on, and it was all done in 1 month. And then, of course, we always have the rodeo, which is also a historic institution here in our city that could also be in there. So those are just some of my ideas, and just throw them out there if they stick.
I think we're dead on. That's great. We can piggyback on some of these events that have happened year after year. It's going to make it a lot easier. I was at the annual awards banquet at Homestead Air Force Base a week ago Saturday, and I mentioned it to the base commander, Colonel Lindbergh, and he was very, very agreeable. So that's something else that can happen at the air show. You know, that we can.
Oh, I have one more idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The water towers that we have. I was talking to George a while back about Fort Lauderdale's centennial, but the water towers, we could put the 100 and light the water towers up the whole year. It wouldn't be that expensive, I don't think. With 100, you know, Homestead is 100 years old.
You bring a good point right there when you say that's what we need to move next, is maybe a steering committee, what kind of budget we're looking at, and Mr. Williams.
Yeah. Man, I see all of these combustions of ideas you all have, but what kind of money you all are we trying to allocate toward this? Because we can have all these wonderful ideas, but all of that costs dollars and cents. So what are we trying to allocate in to facilitate some of these great projects we look at?
Well, I think that's what the start is tonight, and we either each select a person to sit on the steering committee and to start this whole event off. You know, we got to do some just some brainstorming. So, you know,
Do some what?
right? You got to do some brainstorming, because none of us have an idea where we're at, but you know, financially. Speaking to George in Fort Lauderdale, they spent about $250,000.
Oh, that's good.
And they're 120 strong. Now, we're not looking at, you know, we just look at, based on the size of us, we're 60,000. They're 120,000, right? 120? 180. And so we kind of base it on that. I mean, I don't think any ideas have been thrown out yet that have been too costly. But that's what the whole idea of the brainstorming and the steering committee will do.
Okay, so out of this, there'll be a steering committee?
I think we need to, it's a suggestion, we need to put together a steering committee that we all work on. We advertise, publicly advertise it, so we all can show up at them if we choose to. And we work it. We work it to do the best we can for the citizens of our community.
Mayor, did you want to decide on a budget tonight and then have the steering committee work their ideas based on your preliminary budget, or how the problem with not going in with some sort of a scope with the steering committee?
Thank you,
get out of
George.
hand pretty quick.
Sure. That's why I think that we need to stay involved, the entire council, along with the steering committee. So, I mean, there's no, we can do a preliminary budget now and say, but you know how things are going to happen. They're not going to go down. They're going to go up. I like that. Yes.
Yeah, well, Mayor, I guess the only reason I raise the question is because if you go out and buy a car, you know what you're going to be able to spend. And I think if you're going to have a steering committee that's going to be involved, you need some guiding steps, I'm not pretty sure you're not going to let the steering committee come up with a budget, are you?
Well, the steering committee, I don't think we'll ever let go of the steering committee. That's something I'm very firm on, is that we stay involved. This council stays involved, and we steer the steering committee. Simple as that. And they're there for ideas and creation and input and hard work, and so are we. So it's going to take some time. We do have a little time. I'm not saying we have a lot of time, but we're looking at the first event happening in November, unless we do something like Ms. Wallman suggested, is to immediately start advertising it. It is our 100th year celebration.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
I'm echoing. This project is mammoth, and this can potentially be a logistical nightmare, but we're not going there. Who is going to lead this effort? I know we're going to be involved, but who's going to lead the effort?
Well, I envision the steering committee being made up of the council, and I think that the steering committee will lead the effort. I think we've got a good core to work with here. These events here, if we spread our celebration over 4 months, I think we've done a good job for our city. And I'm open to suggestions. I just think
really
instead of having one big, celebration, we're going to celebrate over 4 months and get involved in every activity that we've been supporting for the last 100 years.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I wish you finished, Patricia. I'm sorry.
Well, we haven't heard from Mr. Shelley yet.
Well, I just wanted to say one good that I'm going to suggest Main Street or one of the nonprofits that CRA funds to steer it, because none of us have the time to.
No, I'll make the time.
Yeah.
Well, I
get involved. I wanna
mean,
stay involved.
none of us. He's made this. The mayor has made this a council thing.
Right.
So, I think in order to take away from just one person on the council, that you need you need somebody who's, as I say, is a facilitator. So I would certainly suggest that maybe the Main Street and the Chamber could work together, and they could be a team. And as far as time goes, and as far as money, well, Mr. Shelley, do you mind if I say this, for taking your time?
Well, we still get time, right?
He's
You gotta take
next.
it.
Well, I was just going to say that, there's no money with the Pineapple Gala or the races.
Piggybacking it.
You're just piggybacking, and then with the Main Street, they do the Christmas tree lighting anyway, and then the series of events, that's even Art South. Maybe you could do it in the sanctuary, or, there's a lot of different ways to utilize the nonprofits.
I agree. Mr. Shelley.
I agree. I think we have some great ideas tonight. It's just kind of putting some structure to the plan. I don't know if we're going to have a workshop. Is that going to be the next step, is we as the steering committee? Because I think before you give it to any committee or any group to work with, we have to set the parameters. We have to say that we want this event for sure, this event for sure, and then once we set the parameters of the types of events, then we can start to set the budget, because we can get an estimated cost of that event. And then the steering committee can start putting to work our framework. So are we going to have a workshop specifically on our centennial celebration, and that's where we're going to brainstorm and vote on or give direction on specific events that we want to have? Do we want fireworks? Do we not want fireworks? Do we want to have 1 week of, 1 week celebration, which is our primary centennial event, and then these are all just kind of supplementary to? There's a lot of questions that I have as far as figuring out what we want as a council before we send it off to another committee to get involved. So there were more just general questions trying to figure out how we're going to go forward, because I think it's going to take a good bit of time for all of us to sit here and bounce these ideas, not only what we think are good ideas, but actually make decisions on individual ideas, and then from there we're going to have to allocate priority, because when we start talking about funding, some may be more expensive than others, and we may have to make choices. So just trying to figure out the procedure.
No, I hear you. It's really going to be based on council's pleasure, the majority of council, its pleasure of how we're going to actually start the whole process off. Tonight, I don't think is, this is the appropriate venue, because one, we don't have an AC working, and two, we've got a couple of items on the agenda. I kind of wanted just to get our feet wet tonight and start thinking about it. And then, yes, we can set that date. We can set that date tonight for the first meeting.
Yep.
It's council's pleasure. You want to set that date, and then we can move on with our 1 week from now, and it's its own meeting, public meeting set on what works for council. Can we pick it? Can everybody look at the calendar and see what they think works for next week? Any day but Good Friday, right?
What's this Friday?
That's this week.
What's this week? Any day but Monday or Thursday, because I got baseball.
What's next?
What's this week?
And I'm a pitcher some nights.
Tuesday's fine with me.
Oh,
Wednesday.
yeah.
I'm going to sleep.
Wednesday's fine with me.
Wednesday's fine with me.
I'm out Wednesday.
What day are you looking at?
Wednesday, week from tomorrow.
Okay.
Wednesday don't work for me, Mayor.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay. Well, I'm good for Wednesday, and I'm good for Tuesday.
Okay. Fair call. Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday work for you, Mr. Williams?
It does.
Okay. How do we work for you? How do we work? What time do you start baseball?
Tuesdays are okay.
Tuesday? Okay, good.
Yeah, Monday and Thursdays.
Okay, Tuesday. We'll meet a week from today. What's your pleasure, 5:30? 5:30? 6 o'clock?
No,
Makes you
5:30
feel
is fine.
5:30? Okay, so we'll set the first meeting a week from today, which is April, the 11th?
10.
10th? April 10th. Tuesday, April 10th. At 5:30 in the evening, we'll have our first centennial kickoff meeting. Yes.
To Begonia, do you think we'll be able to get that PowerPoint that was presented years ago from the firm?
Yes, Mayor and Council, that's the package that I put together for you. In 2008, the city hired that company to put together kind of a blueprint of what would be the marketing and branding of the 100-year anniversary. So you can just take a look at that. And I believe we own a couple of the logos. They sent them to me already.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I could just put on the record, I think we have enough samples here that we certainly don't need to spend any more money on any firms to bring in to help design anything, because we have a lot of samples here, and I remember this was costly. This cost a lot of money. I think it was 25 or I want to say 25,000 or more.
Wow.
So, I mean, don't hold me to that, but we have to check it. No, it wasn't? See, this company, we did pay them a lot of money.
I heard it was 12,000, but they're trying to get back to me with all the information.
Well, that might be just for this signage here, but we paid this company a lot of money because they were the ones with the, I think it was the same people with Discover the Opportunities and all the other stuff. So we paid them thousands and thousands of dollars.
The other thing, Councilwoman Waldman, and I just wanted to let you know that I met with the city clerk because we had a few dates and we weren't sure which one was the date of the incorporation. We went over those minutes. In January 27, it seems like it's the day that they decided to become incorporated as a city, but the actual incorporation, according to the records of the state of Florida, is on February 8th. So, January 27th, they met and decided to become a city, and they started putting all the documents together, and then on February 8th, they signed it.
Well, that was when it was actually recorded.
So I think the decision probably
The
should be
decision was made.
which date you all want to.
Well, the decision was made according to this on January 27th.
Well,
They
how
voted for it.
many day ride do you think it was by horseback to get this done?
So whatever day works for you all is what we'll.
And we need to decide.
Well, we can discuss that at our first meeting, Rob.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor?
And during that time, let's do a little more research if we can and figure out where we're at. with
Mr.
it.
Jensen?
Yeah? Question?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just to follow up, I guess, dealing with this company, this firm that put together this marketing campaign, can we also look and see what the contract we had with them is? Do we have any services left under our contract? Did we pay them and they've yet to perform because this thing froze?
No, it was just for that blueprint. It's kind of like a plan that they put together for us as to, all kinds of things that you could do to brand the 100th year anniversary. And
But even with the marketing, because I know they came up with a website, there was a whole bunch of things that this particular company did, from what I remember. Do we know whether or not there's any obligations left? Did we pay for services we haven't received?
I don't believe so. I think it was like an open contract, but since I've been here, I haven't used them, and we haven't really used their services for a long time.
We'll dig through and see if there's any.
Yes.
Perfect, thanks.
All right, any final questions? Yes, please. Yeah, please.
I just, way back when, we had a thing called, moving to 2013. Remember, that was kind of a buzzword when we first were thinking about the centennial. The reason I stepped up, the military obviously has a very important part in our history. And there is a website that our MAC has called homesteadmac.org, O-R-G. And if you go out to that website, there is a rather extensive history about the base, about the past commanders, a lot of information that might lead into part of what you want to put together in the way of history. Plus, obviously Bob Jensen, he put a lot of that together. So that might be very helpful to incorporate that as well into, our little pamphlet for the history. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, please.
I'll be brief. Clara Warren Powell, 745 Southeast 18th Lane. I grew up in Connecticut, and one of the proudest pieces I have is our 300-year picture book of pictures around Glastonbury, Connecticut, with words by descendants. I love the idea of the picture book. I'm saying this now because time is running out. Prine also had a celebration, and they brought the 50th oldest people in and did voice histories. And as we lose our descendants here, we need to get them and get their voice histories, perhaps incorporate those in the books. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Okay, any final question?
Mayor,
Yes.
Larry, you might need to come to the podium, but I'll talk while you walk. Can you tell me that Robert Chaplin was willing to take pictures of our facades and doorways and things and help incorporate that?
Larry Deal, 1670 Egret Road. I'm sorry to take the council's time. I'm here tonight simply to see that the planning got started because we're late starting this. There was money spent in the past, and I don't see the need to really spend a great deal of money in the future. One of the ideas we threw out when we were brainstorming, when Judy and I talked this afternoon, was that Robert Chaplin Photography was willing to take pictures of historic doorways or historic buildings. Just an idea we threw out. In cities in Pennsylvania, they've generated posters that they sell for $5. It creates pocket change to fund some of the events or at least some of the planning. So I'm anxious to be a part of that and help any way I can.
And there was a book written, and Ruth Campbell has a copy of it, because I know they interviewed my great aunt, and it goes all the way back, and I love that idea of the audio they're deceased now. They passed, but they were able to be interviewed, and there's still a few out there. We just lost a great one recently, but there's still a few people out there that I know would love to share in the documentary like that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deal. All right, any final questions from council on this item? All right, I look forward to our meeting next Tuesday, 5:30. Tab 2, motion to move the February 13th minutes. Second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Okay, item carries. Tab 3, Park and Recreation Committee. Motion to place car 437 on council agenda. Thank you. Bullpen at Harrisfield. Staff report.
Mayor, the existing baseball fields at Harrisfield do not have bullpens with artificial turf, and this feature is highly recommended and is safer for players. Staff recommends the mayor and council approve the attached resolution for the purchase and installation of 8 new bullpens with Forever Lawn at Harrisfield Baseball Field. Superior Park Systems, Inc. quotes the bullpens and Forever Lawn off the Palm Beach County School Board contract number 10C-54B at the same price, terms, and conditions. The total purchase and installation is $43,605.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Questions and comments? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Tab 4, motion to place car 441 on council agenda. Playground artificial turf. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Staff report.
Mayor, the existing artificial turf around the 2 playgrounds at James Archer Smith Park is lifting from the surface, causing a potential safety hazard. Staff recommends the mayor and council approve the attached resolution for the purchase and installation of Forever Lawn at James Archer Smith Park. Superior Park System, Inc. quotes the artificial turf off the Palm Beach County School Board contract number 10C-54B at the same price, terms and conditions. Total purchase and installation is $53,566.70.
Questions or comments?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Burgess.
Through you and through the manager, I guess to the Parks Director, or to the attorney or whoever, we don't have any recourse on the people that installed this for faulty installation or anything, because the way that I'm looking at it, this stuff should have lasted a lot longer. And the way it's been described to me is the installation wasn't correct.
Vice Mayor Burgess, what it is that the park was already there before the park was built. I don't know if you remember that. The playgrounds were there, and then they did the construction. Link Construction did the construction at the park itself. The thing is that we only get a 1-year warranty from that. So the park opened in 2010, so the warranty's already gone. With this surface turf that we're getting, we get an 8-year warranty. Plus, what's happening? They used to use nails for insulation. They're popping off, and it's also causing that the fall zone safety has changed now, which I need to do that so we will be in safety, coordination with it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Williams.
No, my question's been answered.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Item carries. Next item, public safety.
Move it.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Staff report.
Mayor, the Homestead Police Department applied for a 1-year grant from the State of Florida Department of Transportation and was awarded a 6-month grant in the amount of $60,563.62. The grant objective is to reduce the number of DUI traffic accidents and fatalities within the city of Homestead. Funds will be utilized to conduct monthly police saturation patrols within the city limits. Saturation patrols are conducted by law enforcement officers and marked police cars. Officers are assigned to a specific area in which to conduct traffic enforcement, particularly being observant of drivers who are driving while under the influence of drugs or alcohol. The area is predetermined according to the number of DUI traffic accidents or fatalities within that particular area. Each saturation patrol will consist of 3 officers and 1 supervisor. We expect to conduct 8 saturation patrols per month. The funds are to pay the officers overtime for the saturation patrols. Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the attached resolution and authorize the city manager to execute the contract agreement with the State of Florida Department of Transportation in order to fund driving under the influence saturation patrols in the city of Homestead.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Questions or comments?
Yes, question.
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Perhaps this is for the chief. have you all targeted the areas in which you will be doing these stops, or?
You asked me a question, have we targeted areas yet?
Have you already chosen the areas in which that you all will be targeting?
Well, I think we've done this in the past, but I'm not too sure whether we talked about where we're going to target it at, because sometime we have to gather the data to find out where most of the DUIs occur and also the fatalities occurring, and then we'll sit down as a team and we'll come up with the areas we need to concentrate on.
And so you all are going to be doing 8 of these per month?
Yes.